Well, how is everybody doing today? I figured I'd do some kind of a video anyways, just kind of show you what's been going on. We're just getting back going here now. We got rained off here yesterday afternoon. We just loaded up with fertilizer. Fuel truck ended up just leaving here a little while ago. I ordered a load of fuel on Saturday and it's Monday now, and it's just getting here today. And the last we filled up was on Thursday of the week before. So we ended up getting rained off here yesterday afternoon, and we're getting back going here today about the same time we got rained out here yesterday. So we've got more seed boxes empty than we had full, or we've got more than half of the boxes here are empty now, so that's a good sign. We're getting down towards the last bunch of acres here, and we're gonna get going. We've got a pallet of seed that I need to pull off that truck, and then I can go ahead and pull on out of here. We did get a few varieties in bags. However, the rest of them were in totes here, and a good majority of them are already empty. We've got like 3 full ones in the back there. I ended up getting a couple of totes delivered here the other day. I thought we were kind of a little low on acreage of BMR corn, and I had 2 50 unit totes brought in of BMR. That stuff there was $430 a unit, so there's like $43,000 right there in those 2 totes. So we better go ahead and pull on out of here. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a in-cab discussion while we're planting, and just kind of give you an idea of what's been going on here the last week or so. The last video I did was the installation of that steering system, and I've had a few questions on that. Maybe we need to discuss these auto steer systems, whether it's a Green Star system or the FJ Dynamic system. So why don't we go ahead and get planting. I can throw the camera up on there and the cab, and you guys can listen to me jaw jack here. All right, we are planting right along here. Thought I would do a little bit of a discussion on the auto steer system that we put on the 9560 the other day. For those of you that missed the last video, it's the video before this one, we ended up installing an auto steer system from FJ Dynamics on our 9560R. And I had some questions on why we chose to buy that system, why we didn't go with a Deere system, and I thought I would just kind of talk about that for a brief moment here. It'll probably turn into a long, drug-out conversation here. I get jaw-jacking and I lose track of time. So we'll just kind of talk about things a little bit here while I'm planting, going back and forth. For those of you that are, you know, running these systems, the auto steer systems, and know about the environment that we're in right now, dealing with these chip shortages and everything else, it is absolutely impossible to get your hands on a John Deere Green Star system. I did order a receiver the other day, and we'll kind of talk about everything a little bit here, and I'll try to keep things organized as I talk about them, but I'm going to be getting phone calls and interruptions and every other damn thing here. So I chose to purchase this FJ Dynamic system. We are looking for a steering system that'll do just auto steer. The John Deere systems that we're currently running, we have some expensive ones. We have 2 of them that have section control on them, one for doing variable rate fertilizer and one to run this corn planter, being that it's got row shutoffs and it needs the section control in order to recognize the planter coming into planted areas so that it can shut off rows, and now since we put the update kit on this, to shut fertilizer off accordingly as well. I had seen these FJ Dynamic systems advertised here for a little bit here and there. I see there's a couple of other YouTube guys that are using them, and it looks like they're working out rather well for them, and I figured, you know what, I'm gonna try one. So I got a hold of the company and I told them who I was, that I do these videos from time to time, and I would like them to send me one, and I would do a video on it, do the video on the install, use it, and maybe sell a few units for them via the videos that I do. They didn't want to have no part of it. They said, we can sell these to you for a wholesale price, and you can charge the retail price and make the money on it. Well, I didn't know if I really wanted to get into sales. But I said, you know what the heck, I do like this stuff. I like screwing around with it. I've got an iPad that's running Climate Field View. We'll get in showing you some features of that. That ties into, it's getting the information from the 4640 display that's rated underneath you guys that we're running the SeedStar 4 on for the corn planter. The FJ Dynamics system would not be able to run the corn planter. They do not have a ISOBUS system available as of yet. So we ended up doing that install system here last week. Installed it on the 9560. And it took a little bit to get going because the tractor's an articulated tractor, and it steers quite a bit different than a row crop tractor would steer. And I did have a guy from Oklahoma help me with some of the settings, with manipulating the settings that you put into the display to get it to function correctly. There is wheelbase measurements, there's offset measurements, there is measurements of your width of your wheels, there's all that measurements, and we didn't end up using anything standard. We put in some manipulated numbers and we got the system to work. However, it's a little clunky compared to using the Green Star system. I put it on the 9560 just because I figured that days that it was raining, I could go to the field that it was in and run the tractor around and be able to screw around with it when I had time in between rainstorms. And as it's turned out, we've only had a couple of rains since we installed that system here. I paid half of retail, a little less than half of retail for that system. I'm going to get a couple of these in stock to sell. I'm going to explore that option. I'm going to see how that goes. They retail for $7,900, and I'm going to offer them to you guys at a discounted price. If anybody's interested in these units, email me at farmingfixinandfabricating@gmail.com, and we can go through the particulars, and we'll talk about pricing. I can give you my phone number and whatever like that. Now, compared to the John Deere system, for example, that retail price of $8 grand is half the cost of John Deere's deluxe system. These FJ Dynamic systems are more or less designed for a couple of different people. They are designed for a guy that has a tractor, because they're a universal fit unit. They're designed for a guy that has a tractor that does not have any of the integrated systems on them, meaning there's no integrated steering system, there's no integrated ISOBUS capabilities. And what I mean by the ISOBUS capabilities, you can plug in an implement that controlled by an isobus. You can plug it into a tractor that is isobus compatible, and it'll either come up on whatever display you have. You could have an ag leader, you could have a Trimble display, or your armrest control unit, and the implement can be controlled through that display, like a round baler, for example, or a large square baler. The Case International square baler that we have has its own monitor. However, we don't need to use that if we have a tractor that has an isobus plug on it. You don't have to put a clunky monitor in your tractor. You can just run off of whatever display that you have in the tractor. The display that I'm currently using in this tractor here is a John Deere 4640, and that display is $8,000. The receiver that is going to have the highest accuracy is right around $7,800 if I remember right. And you can get the regular receiver that doesn't have as good an accuracy for about $3,800. So with the deluxe monitor, a 4640 monitor, and the receiver, you're talking just shy of 16 grand. And then if you're putting that on a tractor that does not have a integrated steering system, you need to put in John Deere's ATU. And I bought one of them used off of, it was either eBay or I bought it from one of the dealers, and it was a used setup, and it was either $1,200 or $1,500. I don't know what the new one costs now, but it's probably upwards of $2 grand. Now, the other systems that we have 5 systems altogether. We have 2 2600s, 2 2630s, and 1 4640. They do not make the 2630 anymore. The 2630 took the place of the 2600, and prior to the 2600 there was an 1800. I never used one of them before. And then the 4640 took the place of the 2630. However, it is quite a bit more advanced than a 2630 display. They also have an economy model display, and if I remember right, it's a 4240 display. It's a little bit smaller than the 4640. However, there are some functions that you cannot do with it. Now, the 4640, like I was saying, is $8 grand, but it includes auto steer. The 4240 is $5,300, and that includes auto steer as well, but you can't do some of the functions that this can do, like sharing data. In other words, if there was 2 of us in the same field and we both had 4240 displays, we would not be able to share each other's screens. We wouldn't be able to share each other's guidance tracks. Now, when my father's in the same field I am in, we use the same straight line, and all I do is I just take a picture, or he does the same thing. If he starts out the field first, and if he doesn't have a stored straight line already in his display, he starts off his straight line, takes a picture of his screen, texts me the coordinates, the latitude, longitude, and heading, and then I can type it into my display, and then our straight lines are perfectly straight with each other, and by the time we join each other in the center of the field, we're not shaped like this or like that. We're perfectly parallel. And then he can leave me to do the last pass, and I can shut rows off accordingly, because I can do that manually as well on the display. If he was able to share his data with me, the mapping from his planner would show up and my planner would shut off as it came up to his coverage map. But we have two different displays, a 2630 and a 4640, and you can't share data between the two. Prior to these 4640 displays, you could buy a 2630 and you could buy just the display, and if I remember right, they were like $2,500 or $3,000, and it was basically just a mapping device. All it did was mapping, and the different unlock features like auto steer and section control and stuff like that, you paid for that like a subscription, and it was a one-time fee, and it could cost you $3,000 to $4,000. Now on the 9560, that does have an integrated steering system on it. I could take this display here that has the auto steer in the display and the receiver, put it in that tractor, and auto steer is plug and play. It has a auto steer button right on the console. You lock in your lines, press the button, you're good to go. The 9560, most R series tractors have the armrest control unit in them, and you can purchase a auto steer unlock feature or activation. It's a one-time activation, and you can use the armrest control unit as your display, and all you would need is a receiver, that unlock feature, and the unlock feature is like $3,500. Your basic receiver, if you were purchasing that for new, would be $3,800 and $3,500, be $7,300. That would be the type of system that you would want to probably purchase if you could get your hands on a receiver. I had spoken earlier about the different systems that we currently have. We also have a steering system that is in the armrest control unit of our self-propelled mower. It is a W235 John Deere mower, and we can move that activation code for the steering from that machine into any of the machines that we have that have a GS3 armrest control unit. This tractor here has a GS4. It's basically the same monitor as the 4640, and the steering, they don't allow you to move them to steering activations around. So that's why I had purchased another receiver, was so that we could utilize that steering unit, or that activation, being that we've got 5 displays and only 5 receivers. I don't know when I'm going to receive that new receiver that I bought. Now, I'm using climate field view, and I've got a screen recording going on my iPad, and we'll just kind of hit one of these pins from last year. Our agronomist will walk these fields during the growing season, and they'll snap pictures, they'll make notes, and I'll just click on this one blue pin here, and impatience. So this pin right here, this was taken on the 11th of August. It is a scouting pin. A picture was taken, And this was Rescout corn stage R1. I don't see any other notes here. Let's go over to, oh, this pin here. This pin is 6/23/2021, stage V3, V4, and they did a population count, which was 30,000 and 28.3. 30,000 of 28 to 31. And weeds, yellow mustard, 0 status on that, something like that. I'm trying to read this while I'm going down through the field. And then we have a July 14th Scout V8 comments. Many wet spots across field with stunted yellow corn. So that gives us an idea or some clues as to what last year's growing season was like. This climate field view won't work on the FJ Dynamic system yet. They are working on being compatible with these other systems, and John Deere has worked with Climate, and Climate works with Trimble and Ag Leader, and I think we're going to see some advancements with these FJ Dynamic systems in the future down the road. I did reach out to some of the engineers this morning and asked them if there was any way that they could come up with something different to turn auto steer on or off. The FJ system, in order to turn auto steer on or off, you have to touch the screen. Now, that display in that tractor, I didn't have it raised up high like I have the iPads and the display in this tractor. You could put a bar between the two posts here. You could put that that FJ Dynamics monitor up on the mount. You could have it a little closer to you. However, on the John Deere systems, when you want to cancel auto steer, all you got to do is just grab the wheel. Now I'm going to activate. I just activated auto steer by pressing the button on the console. If I want to cancel auto steer, I just touch the wheel, turn the wheel a little bit, it canceled, you hear the tone. Now I have activated it again. The FJ Dynamic system, if you want to cancel steering, you've got to go to the display, and that is dangerous. If you get too close to the end of the field, you grab that wheel, then you realize, you know, you force the wheel and you realize that it is still in auto steer mode. Then you go to the screen, it's going to go back to that position that it's supposed to be on. Now, I asked them this morning if there was any way to come up with something. The display that they have kind of works like a tablet or an iPad or what have you. It has some it has a way to plug in the antennas and whatever, but it also has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi capability, and they are working on some type of a controller that is controlled via Bluetooth. And if they've got something like that that they're going to come up with, then you'll be able to mount a steering button anywhere in your tractor cab to turn the steering on or off. They're going to be coming up with updates, and when they update that stuff, they're going to be able to update the existing systems that are already currently out. Eventually, I think they'll be able to change the way the auto steer cancels. That's just going to be an update. Now, I was on the phone for quite a while with some of the salespeople from the company here about 3 weeks ago, and this company is new. It's just started up, and one of the co-founders of this company came from DJI. DJI is the company that builds the drones. They have a ton of drones. There's recreational drones. I have 3 of their drones right now, and they're an excellent drone. They have drones to spray crops with. They film movies with DJI drones, and I figured if this guy came from DJI, he knows his stuff, and he's going to build an excellent product. The steer motor that comes in the kit is a little sleeker than the older ATU system that we have from John Deere. I don't know what the newer ATUs look like from John Deere, but this one is, you've seen it in the video. The motor on it is about this big around, and it mounts very nicely to the steering wheel. They do need to do something with being able to adjust that telescoping feature, but for right now I've got that figured out. I know how to make that work on a John Deere tractor, and we're going to be able to get that adapted. Now, I did have to make a special nut to hold that on with, but John Deere does have a nut that's got 4 slots in it, and you just put a small like spanner wrench down on it to tighten it. The only thing is I've got to find what that spanner wrench is, and for right now I'll just, anybody that buys one from me that has a John Deere tractor, I'll just ship along a socket adapter like I made for mine. Right now I'm not really in the position to say, hey, this is the greatest thing going since sliced bread, guys. Go out and buy one. I have laid it all out right on the table here, what my thoughts are on the system. It's a little clunky, however, I'm used to using the Green Star system, but for somebody that has a tractor that has no integrated system, it's about the cheapest thing you're going to find out there. And the accuracy, the base level accuracy, oh, the camera just kicked off, I don't know why, but the base level accuracy that comes with the FJ Dynamics system, the accuracy is better than the basic John Deere accuracy. When you buy the auto steer system, there's no subscription fees. You do not have to pay an unlock fee for auto steer. It's all in the box. Everything is right ready to go when you get it. I don't know anything about the ag leader systems. Years ago we used to have a Trimble system, and what that was is just a light bar. It didn't have the ability to do any auto steer or anything. It had a light bar on there, and what it would do is you put your guidance line in, and then it would tell you if you were drifting one way or the other off your guidance line. And we basically bought it to be able to spread fertilizer with it, just to do mapping, so we knew where we left off in the event that, you know, it was a day or two coming back into a field, top dressing hay fields or what have you. It was always confusing. You had to put a flag in or something to know where you left off. Or another thing that we used it for too was to pack seedings in with a roll harrow. gets to be dark or it gets to where it's real dusty, you can't really tell where you have gone with the roll of harrow. And the beauty with these auto steer systems is it allows you to be as efficient as you're going to be. Now, if you're pulling a piece of tillage equipment, you obviously don't want any skips. So you're naturally going to overlap. You're going to overlap 6 inches, a foot, sometimes 2 foot. Somewhere between 6 inches and 2 foot. If your implement is 20 feet wide, you make 10 passes 5 times down and back with a 20-foot implement, and you overlap 2 feet, or you overlap 24 inches, you have just increased your time by having to travel down through that field one more time. So you can maximize the actual width of your implement, and it cuts down on operator fatigue as well. Another thing you can do with these auto steer systems is you can make YouTube videos. You can put the camera up on the corner post there, and you can just talk into the camera like a big shot like I am. So I've got some drone footage here too that I didn't know what I was going to do with, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the tail end of this video. I have taken my drone footage before, and I either have to have a camera going so you get the sound of the machine, but the sound of the machine, I put it in so it's timed out just right. However, if the drone is 300 feet away or 50 foot on top of it, the sound never changes. So it's kind of silly. I've done it that way before. I've done it with describing what you're seeing, like I'm going to do in the rest of this video. Or I've put it to music. One side of the token, some people like the music. On the other side, the taste of music doesn't fit the person too well, and everybody gets mad at me. So, that's what we're going to have in the rest of this video. I do have, being that we're into, we just started, we've got 2 weeks worth of corn. It was 2 weeks ago today that we started planting corn, and I've got some pictures. We actually have a picture of the first seed of corn coming out of the corn planter. Well, this is a picture of a plant now. And this is the first seed that came out of the planter, came out of row number 3. So we got that picture for you. It is, this picture I took 7 or 8 days after the corn was planted, and then I ended up taking a picture of the field from where I started planting. Right from where I am standing is where the planter got dropped, and I went. Now I've got some drone footage from when the girls were chisel plowing. I went to the field they were chisel plowing in, which is just a couple miles away from the farm. I did the drone footage, and after I got done with the drone and put it away, I ended up doing a video of them climbing that one steep hill. So the drone footage is from that one particular farm that's only a couple miles away from our farm. On this one particular farm here, I also got some footage planting corn in this field. We were 2 days earlier planting this field than we were last year. This is May 10th. Is it May 10th? I'd have to look at my dates. I know it was 2 days earlier than we were last year. However, this is the footage from the first day, or not the first day of planting. This is the third day of planting, second day maybe. But at any rate, my nephew also was planting corn with me in this field. We've got some shots of him. I ended up flying the drone from one side of the farm to one side of this farm to the other, and I knew the neighbor was planting corn down in the valley from where we were, and I ended up flying over the top of him, but I just could not get close enough to him, being that I had lost connection to the remote a couple of different times. And what the drone does when you lose connection from the remote, it just hovers in place for a second or two, and then it'll return to where the drone took off from. And then once it did that, it gained connection back to the remote, and I was able to fly it again. And I had to have the drone up in the air quite high in order to maintain connection. And as you can see here is an aerial shot or an aerial picture from quite high up. I thought it would be a little embarrassing if the drone ended up crashing in the field that he was planting corn in. But this is our neighbor here. I don't know what size Case International tractor he has, but he has a 16-row Kinsey corn planter. So that's going to about do it for this video. I want to thank you for watching, and if there's any interest in these auto steer systems, let me know. Drop me an email at farmingfixingandfabricating@gmail.com, and we'll see what we can do to help you out and getting one of these going for you. Take it easy, folks. We'll catch you at the next one.